Hi. Alright, hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook, and today we are just doing a good old summer book recommendation list. Books that you just simply need to read before this summer is up. I have a lot of different types of books to talk to you guys about today, very different vibes, some fluffy rom-coms, some more emotional books, even some kind of like thrillers, some sort of like spicy books. I've got really a big range here, so we've got a lot to talk about. Let's just get into it. Okay, I thought long and hard when I was putting this list together about whether or not I should include these two books just because I talk about them all the time, but honestly, if you're new to this channel, new to me, I would be doing you a disservice to not talk about them because they're my two favorite summer books of all time and just two of my favorite books of all time in general. Like, I recommend both of these books to everyone. Anyone that asks me for a book recommendation year round, I don't care if it's literally the middle of December, I'm like, you need to read these two books. So I just really quickly need to talk about them. They're both friends to lovers stories. They honestly have a lot of similarities, but are also a little bit different. The first one is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This one just like has my whole heart and soul. This one follows this girl that grew up spending her summers going to this lake house where next door lived these two boys that she befriended from a young age. One of the brothers she became just the best of friends with, instantly clicked with, had this amazing chemistry, but now we know present day that the two of them had some sort of falling out, went their separate ways, and they are now reuniting because the brother's mom has actually passed away, so she's going back to this lakeside town she used to spend her summers at to attend the funeral, and so a lot of things are getting uncovered. You're seeing the tension present day while you're also flashing back to the past and seeing every summer that they spent all growing up together. It is just, it pulls at your heartstrings. The love in this story is just very like nostalgic, childhood, first love, like just the chemistry, the relationship between these two people. I loved it. I think about it all the time. So this one I just love so much. But People We've Been on Vacation is a little bit different. It is another friends to lovers story that kind of has the alternating timelines as well. This follows a guy and a girl that actually met the first day of college or at their college orientation and instantly hit it off, and they ended up kind of starting this tradition where every summer they would go on a vacation together, and the girl was obsessed with vacationing, obsessed with seeing the world, just like getting out of her small town, wanted to experience it all. So then as she got out of college, she actually became like a travel writer, editor, whatever you want to call it. She would travel around, so he would continue to go on these vacations with her. Like, it was just a tradition of theirs that every single summer they did this. But once again, just like this story, present day, we know now the two of them have had a falling out. They haven't talked in years, but they are reuniting because the guy's, I think, brother is getting married. There's some wedding that they both have to attend, so they're reuniting to, you know, go to this wedding, and so they're kind of going on another vacation together. And so you're seeing present day, this current vacation, this current summer, while also flashing back to all the previous vacations and summers they spent together, and you're kind of seeing what caused them to go their separate ways. I love this book so much. It's my favorite Emily Henry book. I just think about it all the time. I don't know if she's going to be able to top it for me because this one just hit me right in the heart. I just love it. I love both of these. I'm not going to spend any more time on them because seriously, I feel like I talk about one of these books in like every other video on my channel, but if you have not read them yet, this has to be the summer you do it. So while we're on the subject of friends to lovers stories, Every Summer After, People We Meet on Vacation, if those books sound like something you would like, or if you've already read those books and you're looking for something different, I wanted to give you a couple of options. The first one would be Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. This one reminds me a lot of Every Summer After. It's about a girl that, same sort of thing, grew up going to this beach house that her family had in Long Island, befriended this boy that lived next door. They, you know, were friends as children, and kind of over time their relationship bloomed, grew, became something more. But now, present day, once again, we know that the two have not spoken in a while, had some sort of very difficult falling out that's left kind of like a bad taste in her mouth. So now she is returning to her Long Island beach house because she is actually engaged, and her fiance are looking to get married in this town. So she reunites with this boy, sees him once again, and all those kind of feelings come back. You're seeing the past, we're flashing to the past, we're seeing in the present all the tension between the two of them, how both of them kind of are dealing with the fact that their lives didn't go the way that they thought they were gonna go, and how they kind of always pictured that they were gonna be together, but now they are not. And it's very, very similar vibes to Every Summer After. This one definitely was a really quick and easy read. It's a great beach read. Throw it in your bag. You'll definitely enjoy it. If you like the friends to lovers vibes, if you like, you know, the whole meaning of life, what do I really want, what's important, you will definitely like this book. And then for my fans of Emily Henry, if you liked People We Meet on Vacation, or if you haven't even read it yet and you're just interested in another friends to lovers story with the very kind of like quirky, fluffy, feel-good vibes, you will definitely like Happy Place by Emily Henry. This follows this group of friends that all met in college at one point or another. They all live together and they have stayed in touch over the years, and every summer they basically get together and stay at one of the friends' like lake house that they have, that their family has. And so these two people in this friend group, this guy and this girl, they have actually been a couple. They've been together for like half a decade now. They've actually been engaged for a few years, and everybody in the friend group thinks that like everything is all good and fine with them, when in reality they have actually been broken up for the last several months. But now it is time for their friend vacation that they do every summer, and it actually is going to be the last vacation they ever have together, because the friend whose family owns this house is actually selling it. So they'll still be able to hang out, but it'll never be the same. It'll never be this like tradition that they've had, that they've held so close. So the guy and the girl basically don't want to tell them that they've broken up, don't want to like ruin the vibes. They want to have one last really good summer together, one last vacation. So it's kind of like a fake dating story, but like the couple actually was a couple and was a couple for many years, but now they're having to pretend to be a couple in front of their friends who think they've been together all this time. Very interesting concept. This is another story that has flashbacks and time jumps, and again, Emily Henry, I just feel like knows how to do it. The relationship in this story was just very different. The bond between them, the chemistry between them kind of had me like kicking my feet and giggling. This book actually gets pretty emotional, has a lot of like life lessons in it, just is really about relationships and friendships, and how growing up is hard and knowing what you want is hard, and how people just change and grow, and you know, it's just important to hold everybody close. So it's definitely a fun book, a cute book, but also like maybe have a tissue box ready, which you might not expect, but it's definitely a good one. So next, I want to talk about a couple of books that are by a new sort of favorite author of mine, one that I've discovered in the last year that I just think is so underrated. Elizabeth O'Rourke is just a queen. I love her so much. Her writing is so good. It makes me feel all the feels. It makes me giggle. It makes me like want to fall in love, makes me question my life. I just love her so much. The first one I want to talk about is The Summer We Fell. This is one of my favorite books that I have read all year. It follows this girl that has grown up living in this small beachside town. She had a really rough upbringing and ends up befriending this boy at her school that is the son of the local pastor in town. And they are friends, and they eventually become more, start dating, and then things really go bad for her at home, and the family ends up taking her in, and so she's actually living with them. And she has a lot of dreams of like, she's a really talented singer, songwriter. She has dreams of doing that, but she just knows that that's not in the cards for her. She's really, you know, loves this family, has felt really loyal to them because they took her in. So she's been just like helping out like at the church, singing at the church. She's a waitress. So she just knows that like what she's gonna do in life is basically marry this boy that she's been with for these years. And that's just what she's gonna do, and she's gonna kind of pay back her debt to them and just, you know, be happy with being content. And all of that is good and fine until her boyfriend actually ends up going off to college. He gets a football scholarship, so she stays in this town while he goes off to college, and he actually ends up befriending this boy that is also on his football team that also happens to have a very rough home life. So he ends up bringing the friend home over the summer. He ends up spending the summers with them throughout their college years, and the girlfriend and the boyfriend's best friend have a very like tumultuous relationship. They do not get along right away. They just are very like different, very combative. He's very kind of like standoffish to her, but over time, obviously you can expect the two sort of grow closer, and you kind of realize that the boyfriend's best friend is really the only person that sees her for who she is, and actually, you know, wants her to like fight for her dreams, and sees all of the potential that she has, and like wants her to kind of live her life and not just feel like she's stuck in this place that she's in. Oh my god, I love this story. It's another one with time jumps. It's kind of one of those stories where the entire time you're trying to figure out what happened. Like the two of them, present day, are crossing paths once again, and you're just like, what is gonna happen in this story? And when you see it all play out, it's just such a like rough situation, a very like forbidden love story, obviously. Boyfriend's best friend, not a good situation, but the guy in this story, Luke was his name, adored him. Literally like a new favorite book boyfriend. I'm telling you, he's a surfer also, so it's just great summer vibes. Checks off all the things that you need for a good summer read. Definitely check it out. And then my second Elizabeth O'Rourke recommendation I'm going to give is A Deal with the Devil. This story follows this girl that has been falling on hard times. She's a struggling author. She's been trying to write this book. She's kind of been working side jobs. She's working as a bartender, and she's friends with this guy that works as the personal assistant to this really sort of prestigious, well-known plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills in the LA area. And he has a lot of like celebrity clients, very wealthy clients, and her friend that is the assistant has to take 6 weeks off to deal with some family issues, and so he needs to find a replacement for those 6 weeks, and he offers the position to her because she could really use the money. It's really great money. It's just 6 weeks. He trusts her. He knows that she can do it, and she's very hesitant because she's heard all the crazy stories about how much of an asshole this guy is to work with, just how grumpy he is, how he's very demanding, but she really can use the money. She needs it. So she basically agrees to do it, and the two of them just butt heads. He's so difficult to work for. He has so many demands, like a checklist of a million things that he needs, just expects everything and expects it done perfectly the first time. And you know, she really keeps him on his toes and doesn't put up with his crap and shows him that she can handle everything that he has to give her and more. And you know, as you can expect, this is kind of like a forced proximity boss employee sort of situation. So the more time they spend together, the more they kind of are forced to get to know each other, and she really sees that there's like more to him, and she wants to push him to just like step out of his comfort zone. This really is kind of like a summary book because it is in California, and there are like some vacations and stuff that they go on together because she is with him all the time. She is his personal assistant, his sort of like right-hand man. I love this story. It's my favorite rom-com I feel like I've read all year. Like, it just was so addicting. I flew through it so fast. It was just literally the perfect romantic comedy to me. Like, it just checked off every single box of what I love, like slow burn, but not like too slow burn. It was just perfect pacing for me. Just the story, just like every single part of it, it just like, I wouldn't have changed a thing. I absolutely love this book, and I wish more people talked about it, so definitely check it out. Okay, I want to take a break from the rom-coms for just a few minutes to talk about some books that are a little bit different vibe. The first one is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This book is a thriller, one of my favorite thrillers that I've read all year. Whenever I heard about it, I was so sold because it was inspired by a combination of Fleetwood Mac, the Manson murders, and the summer that Mary Shelley spent writing Frankenstein. Literally, say less. It basically takes place at this super picturesque Italian villa that is just the definition of summer. There's lemon trees everywhere, it's on the water, and it's told in these two separate timelines. The first timeline being in the 70s, when these really famous rock stars went and stayed at this villa to write songs together, and they brought their girlfriends. One of the girlfriends ended up writing this really famous horror novel while she was there. It became super famous, still is well known to this day, and this summer kind of goes down in history because it had a very mysterious sort of weird ending to it. One of these rock stars actually ended up dead, and it's still just like a mystery to this day what exactly happened that summer. So you're seeing that story play out, but then in the second timeline, present day, there are these two author best friends that are going to stay at this villa to write their next novels together. One of the authors is very much a struggling writer. Her relationship sort of fell apart in the last year. She's been dealing with a chronic illness, can't seem to get a book written whatsoever, where the other author is like a world famous self-help author. She is the one that actually decided to rent this villa and asked her friend to come along to help her get out of her rut that she's in. So while they're there, they kind of start uncovering all the mysteries and secrets that lie within this villa and surround that summer that is very famous with the rock stars and all of that. It was just such an interesting vibe, an interesting type of story. I love anything that's 70s vibes, but I really never knew what was gonna come next with this book, where it was gonna go. Like, you know, kind of what it was basically, and it just kept me totally on the edge of my seat. It was just very interesting. If you're looking for something that is summery but also kind of like thrillery, suspenseful, mysterious, all those types of things, I would definitely recommend this one to you. Okay, next, if you're looking for something a little bit spicy, a little bit forbidden, a little darker, but you still want those summer vibes, I have to recommend my good friend Morgan Page's book, Ruled Out. This story follows a college softball player and her coach. Very forbidden, so spicy, definitely like an age gap situation. The two of them did not realize that they were coach and player when they initially met the first time, so that obviously created for a very awkward situation whenever the girl shows up for her first day of practice. So freaking good. It's such a quick, easy summer read if you want something spicy. It's also set in Florida in this very just like beachy town. Totally gave me all the summer vibes. Like, so much of it takes place on the beach, near the water. Sunsets are involved. It really just checks off all the boxes if you want a good spicy summer read. So for sure, if you haven't, check it out. All right, next, I have to talk about this book because I have not stopped thinking about it since I read it. It is Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. The thing about this book is it is actually a part of a full series called the Love Light Farm series. Every book in the series is actually a standalone, but they are interconnected. They all take place in the same small town, in the same world. Everybody knows each other, but very much the books, you can read them on their own, and I am always the first person to recommend reading the full series, and I will, of course, recommend that with this series, but the books very much do stand on their own. Like, you won't be confused if you read them separately, so I feel comfortable recommending this book just on its own in this video. But the interesting thing about this series is that B.K. Borison literally wrote it with the intention of each book representing a season. So the first book, Love Light Farms, is winter, In the Weeds is spring, and Mixed Signals is the summer book, and it just perfectly embodies summer through and through. Like, every time I think about it, it's summer, and I love it so much. It is a friends to lovers fake dating story. It follows this guy and this girl that live in this small town. The girl is a baker, and they've been friends for a long time, but he has definitely always secretly been in love with her. He literally comes in every morning, gets coffee and a little treat just so he can see her. He's even been ordering like a custom cake once a week just so he can once again just like have a reason to stop by and talk to her for a little while. But the two of them have been having issues recently with dating. They both have very separate issues. Her issue is that she's just been dating like crazy. She's desperate to find someone. She feels like everyone else in her life has found their person and she hasn't. So she's kind of gotten to a point where her standards are just so low, like her expectations are so low, that she's kind of willing to take crumbs when he thinks that she deserves the whole cake. And when it comes to him, like, he's just had issues where every girl he's ever dated just thinks that he's like too easygoing. Like, he just lets girls walk all over him. He needs to be more assertive, and he just doesn't know how to do that. So the two of them basically are talking about this and end up agreeing to fake date each other to kind of like practice and see what the other person can improve on. She'll kind of give him tips, and he will show her that she deserves more than what she's been getting, basically. It was just so cute, so sweet. The guy in this story I just loved with my entire heart, and it is just perfect for summer. It's so good. It's so good. Okay, next, I gotta recommend a couple of books by another author that I just feel is super underrated, Lacey Walden. Why are more people not talking about her? I don't know. I definitely talked about The Layover in my summer book recommendation video last year, but I'm gonna briefly touch on it again. This one follows this flight attendant that basically has decided that she's ready to settle down, hang up her wings. She's engaged to this man, and she's gonna just like settle down with him and get married, and they want to have a family. So she's not gonna be a flight attendant anymore because her schedule is very crazy while doing that. So this is her final flight, and it's an exciting one because she actually has a 24-hour layover in Belize. But she's not too excited when she arrives for the flight and realizes that she is flying with basically her work nemesis, this flight attendant, this male flight attendant that kind of has a bad reputation of being a womanizer. She just doesn't like him. They butt heads. So it's a very interesting flight and an even more interesting layover that the two of them have. I just love a workplace romance, and this one did it so well. It's really one of those books too that is just about like, what do you really want in life? What is important to you? It was just such good summer vibes. Like, the entire part of the book that is in Belize. It just like made me want to go on a vacation. I think this book is so good, and I don't understand why I don't see more people talking about it. Like, it's just so top tier. Honestly, I kind of want to reread it this summer now that I'm talking about it, because I just loved it that much. But yes, I love The Layover. It is a great summer book, but another great summer book by Lacey Walden is From the Jump. This story follows this girl that has this group of friends that they all met their first week of college, and they have just been very close. They've stayed in touch, stayed in close contact, even as adults. They get together, you know, at least once a month. They all see each other, but they always go on a vacation every single year. Every summer they go on a really epic vacation, but the girl in this group is just very different from the rest of the group. She's very just responsible. She lives her life by a checklist. She always, you know, wants to make sure she's being financially responsible and sticking to the status quo and following like her life journey map, whatever that she set out for herself. So a lot of the times she ends up skipping out on this vacation because she just like doesn't feel like she could do it. Like, she just feels like she shouldn't take off work. But this year, she's not doing that. She's going on this vacation. She's switching it up. She's gonna do the opposite of what she normally does. Like, she's like, I am a new woman. I'm going to say yes to everything. I'm going on this vacation. So she goes on this vacation with her friends, and there's this guy in the friend group that she has always been extra close with. He's always held an extra special place in her heart. Like, they're all very good friends, but her and him have always like hit it off and had this like very intense sort of chemistry between them, but they've never crossed that line together. And he's really kind of the opposite of her. He's very easygoing and kind of just makes her question everything. So this was definitely just like a very cute summery read. Just one of those books that's like about friendship and just, again, like about what do you really want, or like more so how is life meant to be lived, like what is really important at the end of the day. And it was just really cute. I really liked it. Honestly, if you've read Happy Place and you liked that, I think you would really like this book. I just think more people should be talking about it. Like, it was really good. And the last book I want to talk about is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Obviously it has June in the title, so it's got the summer vibes. This isn't like super summery in the way that the other books are. Like, it doesn't take place at a beach or anything, but it does take place in June, a big chunk of the story at least. It basically follows this guy and this girl that met whenever they were kids. They met in high school, and the two of them had very rough upbringings. They met and they basically spent 7 days together in June, a very epic 7 days where they just fell madly in love, shared something between the two of them that they've never had with anyone else. And then at the end of those 7 days, they went their separate ways and have not spoken since. And now as adults, like many years later, the two of them still haven't spoken, but also have not stopped thinking about each other. The two of them now are both very famous authors in very different sort of spheres. The woman is a famous erotica author, and the guy writes, I would say, kind of like Taylor Jenkins Reid style books, just very like epic stories, kind of meaning of life, like wins all these awards, just very well known. That's just kind of like how I thought of it. But yeah, the two of them are both very famous authors, but never really crossed paths because their genres are so different. But now the two of them have reunited because they both are speaking on this panel together. So you see them reunite, you see, of course, like the tension between the two of them, and you're like, what could have possibly happened between the two of these people? Like, why are they so angry at each other? But why is there so much longing? So you do get to see that play out. You go back and you see those 7 days in June, and you see present day, what's going on between them. So it's like a second chance romance, but there's a lot to it. It's a lot of emotions. It's honestly like a pretty heavy story. So if you wanted like something a little bit different, like you still wanted to feel like it's a summer book, but you also, you know, don't mind having to like get in a certain mental space where you're really just like thinking about your existence, this book would be a good one for you. I really liked it. I flew through it. It was such a fast read that really had me hooked. So yeah, definitely recommend it. But yes, guys, those are all of the summer book recommendations I have for you today. If you've read any of these books, I would love to hear all your thoughts on them down below. Or if you have any other summer books you would like to recommend to me or anyone else watching this video, please drop them down below. I'm always looking for season-specific books that I can just have on my list to read, you know, in the specific seasons. Just like over the years, I feel like I have books that have just like stayed on my TBR for years that I'm like, I'm waiting until winter to read this. It's just fun to have those kind of like in the back of your mind. But Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great summer, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.